अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। हरि ओम। ओम नमो भगवते श्री रामकृष्णाय। Welcome to this evening satsang on this special auspicious day called Guru Purnima. We all know that Guru Purnima is that day when, by tradition, we believe was the birth tithi of Veda Vyasa. Rishi Veda Vyasa is to be remembered practically every day, as we all Hindus are immensely indebted to him. Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhi, that is how he is described as a vast-minded person. A person who has got so much of knowledge. That Vyasa's birthday is observed as Guru Purnima. Tonight is a Purnima, and this month is very specially chosen because it is said that Vishnu took the form of Vyasa and came to this earth. So Vyasa also is considered as one of the multiple avatars of Vishnu. Though widely it is known that 10 avatars of Vishnu is very well known, but then there are many avatars, and Vishnu has taken many types of forms and names, and one of that was Vyasadeva. So Guru Purnima day we celebrate not only as Vyasa's birthday, but also to all those gurus who came after him. If you ask who was the Adi Guru, the Adi Guru was Maheshwara himself, Lord Mahadev. He is considered as Adi Guru. And then Vyasadeva comes. After Vyasadeva, in his parampara, there are many gurus have come. At one stage, a guru came who was called Adi Shankaracharya. Adi Shankaracharya streamlined the monastic orders. Before him, the monastics were there. He was also a monastic, a sannyasi, but this sannyasi order was not regulated. So he was the first person who streamlined the entire sannyasa procedures. And in his tradition, lineage, came one greatest monk in 1800, and that was Totapuri. Totapuri became the sannyas guru of our Lord Sri Ramakrishna. So Sri Ramakrishna's disciples can really claim that they belong to a tradition which goes back not only to Totapuri, not only to Adi Shankara, to directly to Vyasadeva. So such a wonderful tradition that monks we are. That's why this tradition is being continued today also, and anyone who has got the power to give Diksha is considered as a Guru. Whom we call Guru in spiritual life, one who initiates you with a mantra. There are many Gurus, as I said, but the same infinite, supreme Ishvara comes in the form of a human, and many human form he takes. That's why you find many types of Gurus are there. Of course, in the modern days, people ask, Maharaj, how do I know he is a genuine Guru or not? In the olden days, that question never came, because all the people who became monks were genuine. But modern day is different. you find there are not genuine monks also coming up and claiming to be a guru. So how do you find? These are all known within a few years whether a person is genuine or not. Ramakrishna initiated Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi, and he instructed her to give Diksha. We call it Diksha, the mantra being bestowed upon a disciple. That procedure is called Diksha. So what is Diksha? Our Tantra Shastra, the scriptures on Tantric lore, they say that Diksha means Diyate Jnanam. When Jnanam is transferred, is given, is bestowed, and Kshiyate Papam, the sins are taken out. So, when you get Diksha from a Guru, what happens? You can ask, all my sins are taken away, washed out? Yes. But then, you are not yourself being free. You start committing sin from the next moment. That's how the sins accumulate. So, in Diksha, at the time of Diksha, you find a very blissful state of existence. On that day, Swami Bhuteshananji, many of you elderly devotees know him very well because most of you have taken initiation from him. He used to say to us, that on the Diksha day, it is a second birth to a human being. We all have one birth. After birth, we are growing and then we will die. So, birth and death, in between, there is another birth, which is called second birth. So, Bhuteshan used to say, the Diksha day, a human being gets a new birth. If the Diksha is not taken, the body is not cured. It is not removed of the impurities that has been accumulating from different births. Vaishnavas, particularly those who worship Vishnu, that Vaishnava Sampradaya, the Vaishnava lineage is very particular that if you don't get Diksha, you are not pure. One story Holy Mother used to say about Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu was sitting, Mother Lakshmi is beside him, and Narada comes. We all know that Narada was a very great, dedicated devotee of Lord Vishnu. So when he came, he sat with Lord Vishnu and was talking for a long time. Many things were discussed, and then Narada got up and went away. Immediately, Lakshmi was told by Vishnu, bring the Ganga water. So she brought Ganga water in a small kamandal. He said, sprinkle on the place where Narada was sitting. So she sprinkled, because that was Vishnu's order. Then she asked, oh Lord Vishnu, why do you sprinkle Ganges water on the place where Narada was sitting? Narada was your very close devotee, and he takes only your name. All the Trilokas he moves on, he only takes Narayana's name. And why do you consider him as impure? Narada had different births. This is in one of the births. So Vishnu said, Narada has not been initiated. He has not got Diksha. So wherever he goes, that place is impure. That's why I purified it by sprinkling Ganges water. This is what Holy Mother says. It is from her mouth. She says that's why the purity of the body and mind is required as a sine qua non, as a basis, as the first requirement for progressing in spiritual life. Spiritual life cannot be progressed if the body and mind is not kept pure. So the purity is an essential qualification of any being who thinks he should conduct his life in a spiritual way. So that purity is very important. For that, Diksha is required. We find in Holy Mother's life how many people she initiated. And it was one of the important contribution to the society, because Sri Ramakrishna told her when he told her that you have to do great work. Mother immediately blurted out, "Oh Thakur, what are you telling? I am a simple woman. What can I do?" Immediately Sri Ramakrishna became very grave and he said, "Don't you see the people in Calcutta? They are like worms. They are suffering. And those people have to be redeemed. They have to be taken out from that worthless state and they have to be shown the correct path. You have to do this work." And then she started doing the work. After the passing away of Sri Ramakrishna, the first initiation she gave was to Yogananda, one of the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna came in her dream and said, "Look, you have to initiate to Yogananda." And then Yogananda got a dream that go and take initiation from Holy Mother. It happened in Vrindavan when after the passing away of Sri Ramakrishna, Mother went on a pilgrimage tour. So when she was in Vrindavan, this is what happened. And she gave Diksha to Yogan. From that time onwards, she started giving Diksha. In one time, she could not say no to people in spite of her ill health. Some of the elderly people know a very famous name in a Bombay film world. And his name was Saurabh Modi. He was a producer, director, and a famous actor also in those days. He came across a simple book of Swami Vivekananda. When he read the book, he was very much inspired. Then he met one Swami, Niramayananda, and he said, "Swamiji, how I came under the spell of Holy Mother, do you know?" He was in his elderly age, about 90-year-old, and he was on a sick bed. So our Bombay Swamiji Niramayananji went to meet him, and he said, "Oh, you see, elderly people, when they become sick and they are lying in the bed, they cannot move around. So it is a tradition in Ramakrishna Mission, the Swami visits their homes and looks after them and sees them. Recently I went to a home in Malaysia on Mrs. Nandi. She cannot move. She goes only in wheelchair. And I heard that she was very sick. Immediately I took the chance. When I go to Malaysia, I must meet her. She is a devotee of Swami Bhuteshananji, and she has become very old now, nearly 90-year-old. So I went and met her. So when this man, the Saurabh Modi, was sick, Swami Niramayananji went and met him. And he asked, "Sir, can you tell how did you become a devotee of Holy Mother?" Because in those days, from Bombay, anybody becoming Holy Mother was a surprising thing. You know, in Bengal itself, Holy Mother was not famous. Only after the passing away of Holy Mother, her picture was started being distributed. Before that, the picture also was not given to public. Such closely she kept herself without any becoming popular. And that lady is disciple from Bombay. So naturally Niramayananji was very curious. Then he started telling, in 1916, I went to Calcutta. My one aim was to meet this lady. Ramakrishna is no more, Swami Vivekananda is no more, but Ramakrishna's wife, by name Sarada Devi, is still existing. I must go and meet her. And I went. At that time, Holy Mother was absolutely sick. She herself was sick and she was lying on the Udbodhan house in Bagbazar. So in that building, on the first floor, she was lying in her bed, and he has come. And down below, like a gate man, of Swami Saradananda was sitting. And you know, at that time Saradananda was a very hefty man, and he was really, everybody was afraid to talk to him. So this man went and said, "I am coming from Bombay. Who are you?" "I'm Saurabh Modi." And so he never knew what was the film personality, etc. And he said, "What are you doing?" "I am a producer, actor, director of films." "Okay, what do you want?" "I want to meet Holy Mother." "No, it's not possible. She is sick, she can't meet anybody. I have come all the way from Bombay only to meet her. What are you talking that I cannot meet her? Please allow me. Otherwise, if I die now, then I will go without that desire being fulfilled." I must meet her. Seeing the so much of his yearning to meet Holy Mother, Saradanji's heart melted. He said, okay, go above. So he was taken there, and Mother was lying on the bed. He went and he met Mother, made pranam to her. He knows only Hindi and English. Of course, English no use with the Holy Mother. He knows Hindi. Neither she knew Hindi. She knows only Bengali. Now he doesn't know Bengali. How they will talk? No translator. Only they were left together. Now he started telling in Hindi how he had certain experiences, spiritual experiences, and he started telling one by one, and started telling her, I have come from Bombay only for this purpose. Immediately she called Golapma, who was assisting Mother, said, Golap, come put 2 seats. 2 seats are kept. Ganges water was brought. She got up from bed, got down and sat on the seat, meditated on Sri Ramakrishna, and she initiated him. The giving mantra, even when she was ill, shows how Holy Mother was so fond of redeeming the devotees. The devotee has come with so much of yearning, I must give him this. This is a wonderful thing. That is why we understand now that how her Shishyas, Holy Mother had many monastic disciples also. Many came, and there are many people who saw her in their dreams, and then they came to her. One incident I remember, Surendranath Sen. He was a very rich man, and then he was very elite, local elite community of Calcutta in that time, and he used to meet Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda on that day gave to 3 people Diksha. So he was the 4th person. He was sitting in the queue. So one by one, Swamiji was giving Diksha. After giving, his turn came, that Surendranath Sen came and sat in front of him in the asana. Swamiji closed his eyes, meditated for some time. He opened his eyes and said, Suren, I am not your guru. Your guru is someone who is greater than me. So I shall not initiate you. You can get up and go. Suren thought, Swamiji, for some reason, he doesn't want to initiate me. He just wants me to put off. That's why he is telling, some greater than me, one person will give initiation. Who is greater than Vivekananda? See, that was the time when Vivekananda has come back from America with full-fledged, and he was there everywhere. The whole world knew Vivekananda at that time. Whole India was agog by the name of Vivekananda. And that Vivekananda says, someone greater than me. He couldn't believe that. But what to do? He says, I cannot initiate you. What? So he got up. And it was in 1900. 1902, Swamiji passed away. He felt very unhappy. Said, Swamiji was to give me Diksha. I considered him as my guru, but he just put me off, and he also passed away. Now who is going to? Who is the person now in the world who is greater than Vivekananda? He couldn't understand. It went on, went on, went on. 7 years over. Now, in flashback, one incident comes. After Swamiji's passing away, one day he was so much of yearning, he was shedding tears, and he slept. He had a dream. In that dream, one Devi had come. She appeared to be Saraswati. No Veena, nothing. He imagined she was a Saraswati. And she was sitting in such a way, only the silhouette of the form is seen by him. He is not seeing the face of the Devi, only seeing from the side, a Devi is sitting there. That's all. And she tells, Sri Ramakrishna has given this mantra to you. Repeat this mantra. And he repeated the mantra, all in dream. Dream was over. After 7 years, 1906 or 7, Girish Ghosh one day came to him. Suren, I am going to Jairam Bhati, a very small village in West Bengal. I am going to that village. He said, what for? Why you suddenly take fancy to that village? That village, one lady lives. She is the divine consort of Sri Ramakrishna, my Gurudev. Like that Girish was telling. Oh, your Guru's wife. So you want to see her? No, she is more than that. But for you, introduction I am telling, she is my Guru's wife. I am going to see her, so please come. They said, okay. You know, rural Bengal is always fascinating. The first time when I went to Bengal from Tamil Nadu, I wanted to see rural Bengal. So I took a tour of rural Bengal. It was so fascinating to see beautiful small ponds, lakes, and even you find lots of lotuses in those lakes, plenty of trees, so beautiful place. So he went just to see a rural Bengal, that's all. And when he reached there, they were walking at that time. At that time, Girish goes took him to Holy Mother. Holy Mother seeing him, oh Suren, you have come. Very good. Tomorrow is your Diksha. I will give you mantra. He couldn't understand. What is this? I have not come here to take Diksha because I wanted to take Diksha from Swamiji. Swamiji is no more, that's all over. Like that he was thinking. Next day morning he got up, took his bath in that lake, then he came to her room. What he saw was stunning. The exact silhouette form that he saw, in the same way Holy Mother is sitting. And when he came, she said, come my son, come. She invited him and put him on the seat. And then she gave the mantra, exact mantra that he received 7 years before in his dream. Can you imagine? That is how the redemption of the humans come. We all have done lot of sins. We all have done undergone very many births. But how are you going to redeem this? How are you going to come out of this? Where is the salvation for us? So we think of Holy Mother. Even now, say, she has got nothing. Says, anybody who calls me mother, I shall have to be at his side. That is what Holy Mother has promised. If anybody calls me mother, I cannot deny, I cannot refuse that person. Likewise, there is another one, Premananda Dasgupta. This man is from East Bengal and he had a dream. In the dream, he had a dream that one Devata has come and initiated him with a mantra. And his brother was a monk of the Ramakrishna Mission. Though brother was a monk, he never has gone to any Ramakrishna Mission branch. He had no idea about Ramakrishna, Vivekananda or Holy Mother. And one day, he went to his brother and was talking to him. Brother told, see, you are wasting your time. All your life, whatever bhoga you have had that. Finished. Now you are getting old. Why don't you turn your mind towards God? Take Diksha from Holy Mother. But he didn't tell his brother what dream he had. So he came one day too. At that time, where Holy Mother was staying in Bagh Bazaar, there was no bathroom or anything. She had to go to the pond and take bath. So she has taken all the clothes, etc., just like any other woman, and put her, then she started walking. At that time, Premananda Dasgupta was suddenly, so like that so many ladies are going. He has never seen Holy Mother. So he never knew that was Sarada Devi. So many ladies were going for bath. So he like that so many were going. So he was just walking. And when Holy Mother came nearby, she stood there and looked at him. So he was stunned. Suddenly one strange lady stopped and looking at him. What is that? And he looked at her. She said, hey, you have come. Very good. Go, take bath and go inside. I will come after bath and initiate you. You see the omniscience of the God. If you are divine, if you are a guru, you know the past, present and the future of your disciple. That power comes. Who gives that power? Satchidananda alone is Guru. Sri Ramakrishna again and again says, Satchidananda is the Guru. Don't think the human Guru has come in the human form. He has blessed you. How? The Satchidananda has blessed you through this human form. A Guru is a conduit pipe to reach the blessings of the I am Supreme Lord. And that is the tradition Sri Ramakrishna Mission follows everywhere. All our gurus, when they initiate, they tell the disciples, look, I am not your guru. For the present time, I have transferred the mantra to you, which I got from my guru. So that mantra is very potent. The mantra is given to you. Your guru is Sri Ramakrishna. Look at Ramakrishna as your guru. So we say, Jai Sri Guru Maharaj Ji Ki Jai. He is our guru. And all the human gurus, who are they? They have been manifesting the guru power through the blessings of Satchidananda, the Supreme Lord. So the Supreme Lord comes in the form of many gurus. So all the gurus that have come into this world so far, our prostrations at their holy feet. And all those gurus who are going to come in the future, our prostration now itself for their blessings. So the guru's number, in the human number, will be any number. It doesn't matter. But the manifested the power comes actually from the Supreme, the Satchidananda, as Sri Ramakrishna calls. So you may say, Maharaj, you gave example of a rich man, elite man getting Diksha. So mother never cared for poor people or what? No. Every poor person comes before her and says that I want Diksha, Diksha is given. A lady came from a very poor background. She came to Udbodhan and she met mother. Mother said, I will give you Diksha. She said, I have not brought anything. I don't have money to purchase all the things that are required for Diksha. Generally a disciple goes and wants a Diksha. So it is supposed to bring certain items, very important items like a cloth or a dakshina or some flowers, some fruits, etc. you have to give. Even Swamiji used to initiate his disciple. He used to tell his disciple, go to the bandar and get one fruit from. And the fruit you hand it over as a Guru Dakshina. He used to say. So this Guru Dakshina must be given. She said, I don't have anything. He said, nothing is required. It's called Golapma. Give her 2 fruits. And that you offer me. It is already there in the bandar. So that fruit she took it and then offered to Holy Mother and she got Diksha. Once Holy Mother was coming to Jairam Bhatti from Calcutta. In those days, one train service was there up to Vishnupur. That Vishnupur station is still now. If you go to West Bengal, you must visit this Vishnupur. The station has become so holy now because of Holy Mother. Used to get down there. Not only that, one incident happened there. What was the interesting incident? That was when she came down from the train and the train has left and she is sitting under the tree. It's a small station. Suddenly, the porter, after the train has left, he saw Holy Mother and he started coming running towards her. The way he ran, he was gasping for breath and fell at her feet, Sashtanga Pranamati. Holy Mother was dead and he was fully in tears. And his voice became choked. And he is telling, Mother Janki, oh Ma Janki, oh Ma Janki, हमने तुमको देख लिया, तुम आ गई हो यहाँ. कहाँ थे इतने दिन? He is telling, oh Mother Janki, where were you all these days? I have been searching for you. Today you have come. What a blessing I have. In that very station, at that very spot, she gave Diksha to that porter. We call coolie in India. Porter was given Diksha and he is a Hindi speaking man. He doesn't know Bengali. But mother spoke to him in Bengali and he understood. Even the language is not required for the communication between Guru and Shishya. That is what Bhuteshan used to say. He used to say that if you consider your Guru as a human only, then what has happened? It is called Dehatmavada. It is called materialistic. Your materialism. So, because after the Deha, that is the body collapses, then Guru also is gone? No. Guru eternally lives. So, he should be understood to be not as a human. That's why Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara. Don't think a Guru as a human just because that power has come from that Satchidananda, and that power is manifesting in the human form. Otherwise, I shall not be able to communicate with the person. If the human guru does not come, for instance, how are you going to get Diksha? How are you going to get to see that guru? And how are you going to communicate? How are you going to do seva to that guru? So all these things are required for our spiritual life. For that, Diksha is a must. So Diksha taking is not a small thing. Guru gives not only the mantra, he conveys, he brings to you the power behind the mantra also. That's why I tell our devotees, simply chanting a mantra from a book, that is preliminary only. It won't take you far too much of distance. You can walk 10 feet, but not for marathon you can't do. Our spiritual life is like a marathon. You have to walk and walk and walk. So, for that you require a strong energy. That energy can come only when the Guru transfers the energy to you while giving Diksha. So that's why it's very important for us to take Diksha as a first step in our spiritual life. That mantra is very important. In Bengali, there is a beautifully, they make pun of the word mantra. Mantra means, a few letters together or a 2 or 3 words together, and that becomes mantra. The Guru has got Siddhi in that mantra, he gives that mantra to the disciple. So in Bengali, in colloquial language, Bengali, mantra is a very pure Sanskrit pronunciation. It is not pronounced like that. They will say in colloquial, talking language, they will say Montor. So they say, the Vaishnava Gurus say, today I have initiated you, Montor diyechi, ekhon tumar Montor. That means, Montor means, another meaning is your mind. I have given you Diksha today, I have given you mantra, but now your mind will be your Guru. So Guru may leave his body, it doesn't matter at all. Every human being has to have a death. So the death will come, but Guru does not disappear. So while chanting the mantra, reciting the mantra for long time, for many times, that Guru becomes residing in the heart. And then Guru will be merged with the Ishta, and that's how our spiritual life comes into fulfillment. So on this Guru Purnima night, we are all very blessed to be in this holy campus and think of our Guru. Pray to your Guru. If he is there, very well. If he is not in the body, think of him and say, Oh Gurudev, you are not gone away. You are there as a power. Why he is as a power staying? Because his mantra is within you. He has put the seed within you. So he stays within me. So Guru doesn't disappear at all. That eternal living Guru, may that Guru bless all of us, is my prayer. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu. I have 2 announcements for all of you. The first announcement is Swami Sarvaganandaji is coming to Singapore. Sarvaganandaji is the head of our Narendrapur Center in West Bengal. It is a very huge center, educational institution, and he is the Adhyaksha, the head of the center. He is very good orator as well as wonderful musician. He sings very well. Most of the devotees' houses, you find his cassettes or videos and DVDs are there. He is coming to Singapore on 8th. Of course, he is coming earlier 4th, but he will go to Malaysia. From Malaysia, he will return here on 8th morning. 8th evening, we have arranged a musical homage to Sister Nivedita on her 150th birth anniversary function. This function will be done at PGP Hall in Perumal Temple. The notice is kept down below. All are invited. No charges and no tickets to be purchased. No VIP seats and no non-VIP seats. Whoever comes first, you take the seat, except 2 rows. Other than that, all the rows you can sit anywhere and enjoy the bhajan. We call it Bhajan Sandhya. He is a good classical singer also. Our Bengali Association of Singapore has given me a very good tabla player also. So he will accompany him. Ritvik will accompany him. So those who know him, you will enjoy the tabla playing and also the singing. So he is going to sing Bengali songs, Hindi songs and Sanskrit hymns also. So that is a wonderful time. It's a 1.5 hours program. Please, all of you, I request you to diarize that event in your diary and come and attend that. Then immediately on the next day, on 9th, we have scheduled the spiritual retreat. 9th is our national holiday, you know that, national day. So on the day morning from 6 to 1 o'clock in 3 sessions we have got. You can, according to your age and according to your facility, join any session, but always join at the beginning of the session. Don't come in between. So come with 3 sessions are there, you can join any session and have prasad and go. It will be a beautiful spiritual retreat where Sarvagananda also will be speaking and singing also. Along with that, our Malaysia Kuala Lumpur head, Swami Supriyanji also is coming on that day. He will be with us for the spiritual retreat. So 2 outside Swamis are there. Generally, we are all now bored. People are bored with us, local Swamis. So outside Swamis, if they come, people are happy. So 2 outside Swamis are coming, you can enjoy the spiritual retreat. The second announcement is, I consider is very important. In Malaysia, but very near to our Singapore, there is a place called Kluang. In Kluang, a very good group of devotees of Ramakrishna Mission are there. They have weekly satsang, they come together, they do very many activities also, welfare activities also. So long they were not having any home, any building of their own. So they have to go here, there, like that. They have to give a rent and then do all these things. So now they have decided to have their own house. For that, I would request you, whatever is possible from you, please give as a donation today. Today, the Kluang officials will be there down below. They will be sitting on one table with the receipt book. You can give any amount. There is no question that they want only 100,000 ringgit. No. You give in your dollar, whatever is possible. So let us welcome these Kluang people also, because they are doing a wonderful job in that small town. With these 2 announcements, I take leave of you. May God bless us.